Good Friday afternoon, evening, wherever you might be. Victor, how are you doing?
Good.
Microphone sounds
Semi-good.
like-
Listening to you, crackling all around.
Am I still crackling?
Yes, you are.
Okay. I saw where
Or
I thought
it's
it
me.
might
We'll never know.
be. Okay, hang on. We'll see quick enough. Hang on just a second. I wanted to try something. How about now?
Good.
better?
You're very low on volume, but good.
Okay. I can fix that too. Hang on.
Go up.
Go up. How about that?
That's perfect.
That's about, okay, good. All right. Sorry about that, everybody. Let's just say Chrome updated on me today. And I'm on Firefox now. And things are not as happy as they should be. So, hopefully your day's going better, and hopefully your week has been better. Victor, you've had a pretty good week, right?
I had a pretty good week. I'm going all in on artificial intelligence.
Do we talk about that at the end today? Or do you want to hold that back a little bit longer to see if it actually pans out or not?
I mean, I know it's not. It's silly. It just kind of, whomever says that I'm working with AI, I mean, 99% of them, they're just, they learn how to send a CURL request to OpenAI. That's what it is.
That's all it is. Okay, Sebastian, good to see you. Karen, good to see you. I saw the other comments. Sorry about the mic. I don't know what's going on. I'll have to deal with that later. It's really annoying. Really annoying. Let's get into the meat of it today.
Yeah.
By the way, if people are here, because I do see some new names that I don't know. My name's Darren. This over here is Victor, and we are the co-host of a podcast called DevOps Paradox. And on Fridays, especially while Victor is on vacation in an undisclosed location, we actually do live streams. That's getting ready to change a bit in the next 2 months. We'll talk about that later. A lot. How you doing, Martin? And T, Portugal. So we have Portugal, the Netherlands. Sebastian, where are you? What's up? Yeah, do us a favor. If you haven't put where you're from, like just country is good enough. Just put your country because we don't all, some people we know, some people we don't. Zurich. Okay, Zurich. That's Switzerland. Germany. DC. Cool.
Nice.
All right. Well, let's get into it because this week, actually today has been miserable. So let me go ahead and just try to share my screen again now that it's, we'll see what happens. Hang on a second. No, I'm going to mute that and click on allow. And let's see if it actually works. Hey, there we go. Great. Are developer bootcamps worth it? We had Lane Wagner on from boot.dev. Very interesting bootstrapped startup that has boot in the name. Focusing on back end more than front end. Yay. Right?
No pretty colors, huh?
Say that again?
No pretty colors.
Oh, yeah. But anyway, we talked about everything about do you need a degree or not? Should you go to a boot camp or not? And what your other options might be. So that was this week's episode 224. Again, podcast comes out on Wednesdays at 6 a.m. Eastern, noon CET. If you live in a different time zone than that, I can't do the math. Okay, hey, we've got a couple of long-time watcher, first-time live. Luther, thanks for being here.
Hey, Luther.
I know the snow isn't starting yet in Denver, but it will be soon. And Lionel from France. Okay.
Oh la la.
Very cool. Bonjour, comment ça va? And that's as far as it goes for me, for French. Okay, so bootcamp's worth it. Let's just get, I've got a couple of announcements that we need to make, and then we'll get into the news. First off, these are day job announcements. So Victor, I saw one for you, so I took one for myself.
Okay.
So the control plane day with Crossplane is coming up on September 19th.
Yes.
And that's it.
That's
Go
it.
sign
It's
up.
coming on 19. Just kind of join. It's free. I think it's free. I don't know. It's most likely free. Certainly.
So Victor's welcoming and closing.
Yeah, exactly.
So
And
basically that means...
I'm doing something in the middle. I think, yeah, that fire chat, that's me as well.
Oh, okay. Oh, far side. with Rachel and Kelsey. Interesting.
Yes.
Ask Kelsey how he's enjoying retirement.
Will do. And I will say, here's a question from your longtime follower.
Yeah,
Darin
which he would know.
wants to know.
Yeah, which he could care less because he doesn't know who I am. So this is a one-day online event. So check that out. Secondly, DevOps World, for my day job, this year, instead of it being in a single location, it's actually going to be in 5 different cities. The cities are New York City area. Now, what does that mean? Jersey City. It's right on the Hudson. Chicago, Silicon Valley. That's actually, I believe it's in San Jose. Or Santa Clara. I think it's Santa Clara.
I think I heard Santa Clara, yeah.
It's Santa Clara. And then Singapore and London. So if you're in any of these regions, this is an in-person live event. It does cost money. I don't remember how much it is. And you're interested in it, go check it out. Now, you will notice that Santa Clara or Silicon Valley and New York are actually 2 days. The first day is sort of a workshop thing that's extra, but then the second day is actually the event. You'll notice Chicago, London, and Singapore are just one-day events. So that's that. Final comment. Then we really get into it. Kosuke Kawaguchi, who's the guy behind Jenkins that birthed it so many years ago. Actually, he birthed Hudson, which then turned into Jenkins. Much longer story. We should bring him on for that.
Gave birth to Hudson and then decided to change his child's name to Jenkins.
Correct. The company that he started, called Launchable, is doing some product research. And I figure I'd call it out here. If you're interested in any of this, the links for everything we're going through today will be down in the description probably tomorrow morning. I don't think I'll get to it tonight. But if this applies to what you're doing, QA triage, reach out to him. Because I'm assuming, I've seen that he and his co-founder have both been posting about this. So this is a pretty big deal. So check it out. That's at launchable.com. But again, the link over to KK's page here will be up probably tomorrow. Okay, now let's get into the real news. It didn't take long, did it?
I wasn't sure whether you're going to keep it for the end or for the beginning. So,
no,
for
we'll
the
get into
beginning.
the news. Yeah, I wanted to talk about I wanted to get the what are those things even called? I don't want to call it just an event. Conference is too strong of a word too. So I want to get those out of the way first. Anyway. OpenTF. Is it more like, can I say Open WTF?
I mean, I'm not sure what will happen to it, to be honest. I'm not convinced that it will be successful. I hope, and I think I heard that it will be put into some bigger foundation. If that happens, then there might be hope.
But at this point, it's call it done. But it's interesting what OpenTF is trying to do here. There have been some notes. There it is. The cosigns like Spacelift, ENV0, Scalar, covering the cost of 13 FTEs for at least 5 years.
You know, the curious thing about that list is that if you look at the list, you will see that actually a significant number of percentage of them are not direct competitors.
Correct.
Of Hashi, right? Just
Correct.
Companies that do something that uses Terraform, probably. I mean, certainly, right? In this case. And that's a problem, right? Because one thing is how do you crash competition without bothering to make a better product? That's one thing. The other thing is how do you crash all the users who are not your competition, but your software, they depend on your software, right?
Yeah. This list has grown. Holy cow. And then it gets down into
when I checked it a
individuals.
few days ago, it was maybe 10 or something like that.
Yeah, it's grown quite a bit. And that list of companies has definitely grown a lot. What's interesting here, though, is development and open source community efforts. To me, that's not going all in. So it's this one right here, development and open source community efforts. I don't know what that even means.
I don't know either. It's probably there is probably some list when you sign up to choose from.
Probably. It's like, to me, the only ones that really matter are the ones that are like this, covering the cost of somebody to work on it. I'm willing to put money on the line versus, yeah, I might do it if it works out for me. I don't know.
You know, I would like to address the Ari's comment.
Okay.
That 3 of them are competitors, probably more than 3, right? The thing is that, and correct me if I'm wrong, Darin, I don't see any big competitor, neither on that list, nor I know of the attempts of a big competitor to squash Hashi, right?
No.
So I'm not hearing about AWS, Azure, Alibaba, Google trying to provide a competitor product based on HashiCorp open source. There are competitor products, just to make it clear, right? Secret managers in providers are competitors to Vault, but they're not based on Vault, right? So the situation is that big, those massively big organizations are not, as far as I know, and I might be wrong, please correct me in the comments, are not competing with Hashi and actually cooperating and contributing a lot to Hashi. So really, when we talk about competitors, we are talking about tiny players who are almost insignificant compared to the muscle of Hashi. So we have a situation with HashiCorp has more people than competitors, is in control of their source code, and I'm talking about, when I say in control, I mean before the change of the licenses even, right? So they know what's happening, they have control of the code, they know the code better, they have more muscle, more finances, more everything, right? And if in that situation you get threatened by somebody, that means that what you are offering is silly, ridiculously bad, right? The real question is, how did HashiCorp ever get into the situation that people do not go to them for, let's say, SaaS Terraform, but go somewhere else? And that's not the problem of license. Nothing to do with the license.
Going back up to the top, 84 companies, 7 projects, 271 individuals, at least at the time that we're doing this. This is pretty funny. Is reporting issues considered a development effort? No. I don't think so.
I mean, let's also be honest on the other side. Many of those companies are putting their name there in sign of solidarity. They will not move a single finger on and do something with that fork. When I said something, contribute.
That's what I'm talking about with this specific one, development open source community efforts. That's, to me, that's the lowest effort, in my opinion. I'm not a lawyer, just saying those things. Let's see, do I want to call any of these others? No, I think that's it for right now. I do want to go out to some of the community reactions. Pulumi, last Friday after we were done with the show, Joe posted this. Again, Pulumi, true open source. Again, competitor to you, but we've had Joe on the show before. Apache 2.0 license. Crossplane is licensed Apache as well, correct?
I'm not sure.
Do you remember?
I would need to double check Apache or.
Is it submitted to CNCF?
No, it is in CNCF, so
it is. Right. And that's the key part, right? That's the key part.
I think that some previous events and this one are going to spark conversations in companies. So there are companies, every company is using open source one way or another, right? If they're good guys, they're contributing back or doing something with it, sometimes only using, that's not necessarily good, right? But the conversations that will be happening right now is it safe for us to be involved simply in open source project that can stop being open source anytime somebody wants? or we are going to focus on projects that are in foundations, right? And my guess is that it will be the latter. We are going to see increased involvement in projects that are in foundations because that makes investment safe. And when I say safe, I do not mean like in this case, safe, I will never get a competitor so I can do whatever I want. I mean safe, nobody can remove the right for me to continue working on that project, right? Continue investing in that project safely. So foundations are going to be a new thing. I mean, not a new thing, increased thing.
Definitely not new. Another one was from Spacelift, which they were one of the first vocal ones. Again, we're not going to read this, but again, they go into why. Weaveworks had a statement as well. And then based on what you were just talking about, there was this post, the future of open source is polarized. Right? It's going to be, which way do you go? I said this last week, I'm going to say it again. I do not fault HashiCorp for going BSL. Not at all.
Is there a right to do that?
It is their absolute right to do that.
I think it's a silly move from their side.
Right.
I think that they should create better services. They have great products. They should create better services. And in that way compete, but it is their right. Now, what that means for the rest of us, not necessarily related to Terraform and other projects, is next time you're choosing a project, choose more wisely. Right? The project you're going to use, invest, contribute, whatever you do, right? That's that conversation about foundations and what's not.
Is this statement around that? Karen, I'll get you your statement in just a second because I know what that is. If you were starting a new application today, not as a service, just an application within your company, where would you look first for supporting libraries, maybe full apps? Are you going to go to a foundation first or really near first? Should you? I mean, we're not lawyers.
You're talking
here.
about libraries for the app, right? Not
right.
Yeah.
Libraries or maybe even a full service. Let's say that, let's take Vault, HashiCorp Vault, just as the case in point. If HashiCorp Vault was in CNCF, Linux Foundation, or anywhere, right? Just in a foundation today, versus HashiCorp Vault being where it's at the moment. If I was building an application to where I'm using that as a service within my company, again, we are not lawyers. But that's sort of where BSL gets a little fuzzy. And again, glad I'm not a lawyer. But it could be interpreted as you're building a platform and you're using that as a service, therefore you must be licensed. Even if you're not selling it, right? That's sort of the key is where does that gray come in?
I don't think that's the right question because...
Okay. What is the correct question then?
The correct question or statement rather than question is that you can change the license, and right now it changed from whatever it was to BSL. What tells you that it will not change tomorrow?
Nothing.
That's what I'm referring. That's why I'm insisting on foundations, right? And I think it's completely fine. Do closed source project, convert it into a service, earn money. We all deserve to earn money. I have zero things against that. I'm just saying that if you want to use something without the fear that license will change, then foundation is the only option you have right now. So yes, maybe BSL fits whatever you're doing right now. And tomorrow?
May not. I want to go ahead and address this. YouTube changed something this past week. I don't know if you saw this when you were setting your stuff up, Victor, this week for monetization. And I just took all the recommendeds, and obviously the recommended put ads during the live stream. So
I had no idea. I thought that ads would be added afterwards when you watch Because
Mm-mm.
I'm not sure
It's-
how does that work. Do you
It's
miss,
during the
like, skip
live.
15 seconds of somebody? Okay, that's silly.
I
Sounds
don't-
silly.
Yeah. So I will take care of rewiring that. So for everybody watching this live, I apologize. We'll do better next week. I just went with recommended because I was just trying to get everything scheduled. So my fault. I will say here, Luther, BSL change makes sense when you see their stock price under high pressure. Right. That's there.
And I understand that completely. Again, build a better product.
Right.
Commercial one.
Commercial.
That's all there is to it.
I'm not a lawyer. I don't have. They're both stinky to me. I'll just put it that way. If I'm, well, actually, they're not stinky. They're great if you're a company that wants to have source available, but that's it. And I think BSL is actually a very reasonable license. I'd rather have BSL than to be completely proprietary and I can't even see source if I need to. I'm okay with that. You know,
True.
that is the upside of BSL. I have no problems with that. But anyway, okay. Enough of the HashiCorp drama for today, I think. Drama's the polite way to put it. You and I recorded an episode that I'm still editing that's coming out in a couple of weeks. And this is a variation of that. We actually, there was an article that we talked about back towards the end of June about cloud services must stop effing us when they go down. And again, that episode's going to come out in a couple of weeks. But this is a variation of that, to where they're talking about, hey, between all these things, you rely on external systems to keep your product working. Gee, no duh. I'm reliant on my power company to keep the power on, which hasn't happened for the past 2 days. I'm reliant upon my cable provider to provide me internet access, which has gone out the past 2 days. This is nothing new. This is sort of the, I don't know that this story works across the world, but it's sort of the Chicken Little, the sky is falling, the sky is falling. It's like, yeah, but then how do you, if you've promised 100% uptime to your paying customers and you're building on top of things that are not providing you SLAs at all, that's not a good thing.
You made a false promise.
Yeah.
That's what you did. And it all depends, from your perspective, you can blame electricity company for not getting electricity in the morning, Darin, or whatever it is, right? But for the end users, all that is irrelevant, right? I expect service to work and I could not care less who that service depends on, because everybody depends on somebody.
Exactly. And for me, what do I need to do? Well, I need to put in a generator or solar or something else if I don't want to have those problems, if I want to mitigate that risk. Right? I have a single provider for each of my services.
Or not promise SLA that you
Or
cannot
not
fulfill.
promise.
Promise is a promise.
So if I disappear during the show, it's going to be one of the two things: power or internet goes out. It hasn't gone out
There
today.
is a reason why we don't have a SLA on this channel.
Because of me. That's the reason why.
Because of unpredictability.
Yep. So anyway, I thought this article was actually very good. Again, written by a vendor. Again, no problems with that. Everybody needs to eat and have a roof over their head. So I thought it was a good article. It's short, not as deep as the other one, but it pairs nicely. So it's sort of like I don't know, what is it you drink? Usually there's a wine that pairs well with like steak, right? There's better wines that pair with, like a red wine pairs better with steak versus I don't know. I don't drink.
Probably I don't drink wine.
Oh, okay.
Unless it's sparkling.
Okay. Anyway, these two
And
articles.
then when you drink only one type of wine, it pairs with everything, man.
Sort of like water. It pairs with everything.
Exactly.
Speaking of pairing with everything, Planternetes. Can you believe we've got yet another Kubernetes release? Another one.
Every 3 months.
It feels like it's speeding up. I know it's not.
I went through the list like a week ago, and I remember that I saw a couple of things that kind of, hey, this is really good. And
Yeah.
don't ask me now. I already forgot.
You don't remember? Well, this one was SKU versions. This is actually pretty good. Because used to, you could only go 2, but now you can go back 3.
Okay.
Still scares me. Right? Meaning, in theory, a 128 control plane should be able to connect to a 26.
I don't think that's scary because I think
No?
that more affects the way how we upgrade things and when we upgrade.
Okay.
But how often you're going to have control plane that is 5 versions below, before or after nodes, right?
Depends on how
They're
big my company
probably-
is.
Depends
on how big my company is.
Yeah, but they're gonna keep not upgrade either or upgrade both usually.
Recovery from... This was an interesting one to me. Recovery from non-graceful node shutdown. So I go in and pull the power on the node. That's always my favorite one.
It comes back in.
Allows stateful workloads to fail over to a different node successfully after the original node is shut down or is in a non-recoverable state.
Nice.
I'm not sure how disk moves around if the disk was on the node, but hey, they're breaking the laws of physics, I guess.
Oh yeah. I mean that will depend. I mean, to begin with, disk is not part of Kubernetes.
That's true.
The CSI driver is, but then
Right.
implementations are really your thing. So not really Kubernetes direct Kubernetes concern.
Okay. Improvements to CRD validation rules.
That's nice. Oh, that's so amazing for me.
Why do you say
Because
that?
being able, so right now when I define CRDs, I was able to say silly things like, okay, it's a string, it's an integer, things, and it's required, right? And a few other things. Now I can define more rules, meaning that I need to less deal with the up to degree policies later, right? I can define, basically I can embed policies in a way into my CRDs, right? So that when you create a resource based on that CRD, more things are validated out of the box instead of only the type of the field and whether it's required. And that's awesome. So think of it as policies baked into CRD where they should be. They will not replace policies, but it's part of it.
Validating emission policies to beta.
Yeah.
Okay.
Still a long way to GA.
Yeah. Match conditions for admission webhooks. Okay. Beta support for enabling swap on Linux. And then we start getting into the older stuff here, or the not as high priority. There was one thing I did see too, but now I don't remember what it was. Oh, it wasn't that one. It was something around storage classes, but I don't remember what it was. Anyway, 128. I know what some people will be doing this weekend. They'll be upgrading to 128. I would not recommend that.
I don't think
I would wait for another weekend.
Not that fast.
No.
It's perfect. Sweet spot to me is 1 or 2 versions behind the latest.
Yep. Don't rush unless you're a vendor. If you're a vendor, then your lab should be warming up.
Exactly. I mean, if you're a vendor and you're working on something that is designed for Kubernetes, then you are probably using it while you will start using 129 right now.
Correct. So here's all the stables, removals, and deprecations. And then you can see the full release notes. So that means probably next week we will see from AWS the EKS schedule, which always at the bottom.
Now.
Yeah. Well, and that's where they have the dates of here's when things will automatically get upgraded for you, whether you like it or not, which I really like. webinar on the 14th, so a few weeks away. Okay. That is Planternetes. Why did they call it Planternetes? Did you read that part?
Hey, it's after 28, it's not easy to come up with names.
Oh, okay. I was listening to a podcast this morning talking to one of the Debian leads. I learned something today. I had no idea.
Okay.
You know, Debian has names for their releases, right?
Mm-hmm.
And Wheezy was one, and Jesse was one.
Mm-hmm.
Do you know where those names come from?
No idea.
Toy Story.
Toy Story. Okay,
Story.
nice, nice.
Go back and you will see, like, they have one coming up that's called Bookworm, which was
Very
supposedly a minor character in 3. So now I need to go watch 3 and 4 because I think I only watched 1 and 2. But anyway, I learned something new today. The Debian names are based on characters from Toy Story. So when is there going to be a Buzz and when is there... Was there a Woody already in Debian? I think there was.
I think it sounds like as if familiar
Okay.
as if it was.
We're on the internet. We can look this up. So Debian. And we will see... Yeah, it was over on changelog. Where can I find downloads? Oh no, Bookworm was 12. That's right. Download.
Yeah,
Thank you.
Google
Big
it
button.
with the name.
Oh, right. Thank you. You know what? That would be on Wikipedia. Debian release names. There we go. 1.1 was Buzz. Okay. Buzz, Rex, Bo, Ham, Slink, Potato, Woody, Sarge, and then even more. There we go. Where are the names? Oh, there we go. It's like Etch, Wheezy, Jesse, Stretch, Buster, Bullseye, Bookworm. So Trixie, Forky, and then this is one that was most interesting. Unstable is Sid. Do you remember Sid? That was from the first movie. He was the next door neighbor boy that was always blowing things up.
Okay.
That was Sid. So their unstable is Sid.
Very
Genius. Genius. And hopefully you learned something new today as well.
cool. I did not know that.
Okay, let's get into some tools. Atuin. I don't know how to pronounce it, and they don't have a pronunciation here. I'm not even going to try it. It replaces your existing shell history with a SQLite database, thumbs up, and records additional context for your commands, thumbs up. Additionally, it provides optional and fully encrypted synchronization of history between machines via a server they provide.
Oh, initially I was okay. Grep. Why? Synchronization of history. That's bloody cool.
The reason why I found
I
this...
work constantly on at least 2 machines, kind of, all the time.
I'm on 3. So for me, this looks interesting. I'm still not to the point to where I'm okay with their server yet, but I'll dig into it. I found out about this because the person that maintains it had lost a lot of GitHub sponsors, and she was posting about it, and people had been coming back in. So that's how I found out about this. So it was a retweet of her, but it's in Rust and Shell. I believe it was this lady here. I can't remember. Ellie. I write code and ride bikes. There you go. But there's a lot of other people too. So anyway, it looks to be a very interesting project because we've seen things like this before, but not to this level.
Are you saying that to maintain history between computers, it goes to their servers?
It does.
No.
They do say it's fully encrypted.
No.
That's exactly. Like, so, could I use like iCloud, right? Could I use iCloud to be able to pass that around, right? If they built it that way, I'd be okay with that because iCloud is normal to me.
That or Google Cloud or whatever you want to do, right? Kind of
whatever the normal sync is for you.
Exactly. Because there is this thing, and actually I had yesterday a conversation on that subject. I love SAS. Yet neither me nor majority of companies I know are blindly going to SAS, right? It all depends on, at least they have less interest to do something silly.
So I will say here that you can self-host a server.
Okay, then I'm bought. There we go. That's what I want exactly. That's how it should go, right? Self-hosted and SaaS. Pick your poison. Great.
Yep, you can do that. So would I? This takes me back to LastPass, where I trusted them with my passwords. Now I've moved to somebody else because now I no longer trust LastPass. So now I'm more hesitant in going with things that I don't know. This may be a great service, but I'm not ready to go for it step one. But if I can self-host, and as long as it's not leaking, and I can put it to the point to where it doesn't leak, then that's okay. Anyway, it is called, do you even want to try to pronounce it?
Atuin.
There we go. UN. Okay. Magical shell history. Bombshell, yet another shell, but different shell. This is for bombs, S-bombs specifically. This is from ChainGuard, the guys behind all the other interesting... How can I put it this way? I was trying to use one of their images this week, and it's annoying to me. I was trying to use it for
curious,
a
what was the annoying part? I have one annoying thing about it, but I'm curious whether it's the same one.
So I was using the JDK image, and it has a user-defined in their image. The username is Java. The ID is 65384, whatever the UID and GID was. But when I was spinning it up and mounting the volume, like pulling my code in, because I was going to do a multi-stage build, it still kept the ownership. It runs as that user, but and this is a Docker problem, I think, not even a Java problem. When it mounted in, it mounted as UID GID of 1000 instead of, right? And there's no way for me to chown inside the container so I can actually, because what's doing is it's building, when the process was running, it is creating temp files, or hash files for my case, and it's not able to write out because it doesn't have permission. So I flipped over to the Tamarin version of JDK 17, and it works no problem.
Were both images ChainGuard?
No.
Okay, that might be,
The first one was ChainGuard. The second one was the one published by Eclipse Foundation.
Okay, yeah. I would be much more surprised if both were ChainGuard.
No, they weren't.
That would be inconsistency.
No. So that's my, I was digging around to like, how can I change the ownership of the files that get imported in? And you can't. I was like, well, dang, I can't use this. Well, so I needed to get work done, so I went the other direction. What's your annoyance?
I mean, it's not annoyance necessarily, because I understand that everybody needs to earn money somehow. But when you look at the free images that are not for paying customers, there is only one tag of
one
each.
Tag. Latest.
Exactly.
Yeah,
I'm
I ran into that
questioning
yesterday
whether
too.
that's the right cut. I'm not against commercial. Everybody needs to earn money, as I said. I'm just not sure that that's the right cut. That's the right additional benefit that kind of separates adoption from paying customers.
Yeah. Okay. Anyway, let's come back to the happy part of this. It's a new tool, still extremely experimental, to help you query the SBOM, which is always a big nasty thing anyway. Now you can just basically think of this as JQ for your SBOM.
Nice.
That's the way because if you take a look at it, this looks very JQ-like. Not specifically, but in that same family, I guess is what I'm trying to say, right?
Nice. I mean, you need some way to visualize and query and observe and whatever SBOM, because it's enough to take a single half a second look at SBOM and say, I'm not dealing with this. I can generate this. I'm not dealing with this directly.
Exactly. Apache 2.0 and off it goes. So that's Bombshell for ChainGuard. Okay, I got 3 more. Okay. You've done some stuff with Cedar, haven't you?
I don't think so.
No, not yet. Okay. So think of it as OPA, but Cedar is just another policy language.
Okay.
So now there is an official VS Code plugin for extension for it. Sorry, use the right word. But what's more interesting about it is also down in this, I believe it was in this post. If not, again, links for everything will be there. Here's a sample app using it. So it uses OPAL and the Cedar agent to control who has access to what. So this is just a simple to-do list, but using all of the stuff that comes about using Cedar. If you're into that,
Nice.
it's a good combination of the two. All right. You know, I try to save the last one to be a good one.
Okay. Oh, so that wasn't a license discussion. Good one. Okay, now I'm curious.
Well, I don't know that I'm going to win this one today. I probably should have saved the history for last. So this is a feature flag system for Go.
Okay.
Okay. But what's it about? Well, you can play games. No. You can use it with any language, so it's cross-platform. They're also going to be doing all the open feature stuff, which is good. Not there yet. You can store flags in numerous places. The one that sort of caught my eye was config maps.
Wait. So it's a feature flagging tool for Go that works everywhere?
It's a library. It's a library.
Ah, library, and then you can import it wherever.
Yep. So simple. That's the key part of this. It's simple, which that's what we want, right? We want things to be simple until we don't need them to be simple.
So let me give you an advice to people behind this project. If you want this to be used by people using different programming languages, please don't name it Go feature flag. I mean, how likely? So let's say, Darren, you're looking for feature flagging for Java, right?
Yeah, and I see the logo of the typical Gopher type thing.
How long do you stay here?
Very short time.
Exactly.
It's like, oh, that looks interesting, but then I get down here, support your favorite languages, I can barely see the Java that's here.
And that's if you get this far. If I wouldn't be working with Go, I see that whatever is on the first screen over there, Go feature flag, I'm gone.
Right. Now, it may be great. Got no problems with it. It's MIT licensed, going back to our licenses. So this is the...
Now we know that tomorrow that can change to BSL. So what does it matter?
No, but okay, come on. I think the reason why, I don't know, I guess he's generating it. But anyway, it just looked interesting because this is a problem that everybody has. And you don't necessarily need a larger thing, right? You may not need a SaaS. You just need something simple, feature flagging, but you don't need to roll that from scratch. That's where I think this fits in really well.
Exactly.
Especially since it uses, oh, I've already clicked away. Where was it? There it is. Right, you can put GitHub, GitLab, HTTP endpoint. I wouldn't do that one because S3 local file, right? That might be interesting.
Yeah.
But anyway.
Nice.
It's
saves me from writing all those if statements. If OS-env flag 1 equals true, it saves me from those.
Exactly. So this is Go feature flag. Orchestrating orchestrators. What?
Yeah, this was going deeper. I'm not sure whether deeper is the right word, but going into specific features of Argo CD, right? So not talking about what is Argo CD and all that stuff did many times, but talking about what are and how to use sync waves and statuses and Lua scripts and, oh my God, Lua scripts, I hate it. And a few other things with Argo CD to help it do the right thing when it doesn't do the right thing out of the box. Right? It's those situations like, hey, I want to deploy a new release of my application that comes with changes to the schema. How do I make sure the changes to the schema are performed before the new release of the application is deployed, and how do I know that schema change is finished? Things like that.
The schema change is never finished.
That iteration.
Luther
Well,
enjoyed
thank you,
that
Luther.
video. So now you're at the point of you're finished with Whitney for a few weeks. You're getting ready for conference season in about 2 weeks.
Yeah, so I'm going with Whitney. We're finished with this one. We're not going to start a new one because we're both going to Shanghai. We're having a keynote over there. And then we'll figure out when to restart. Not restart, but continue the series. We cannot wait too long because KubeCon Paris, our talk for KubeCon Paris will be based on the 3rd season. So we better finish that season before, otherwise we don't have a talk. There's
So you
still
just
time. So we're talking about 6-7 months, something like that.
So you just sort of glossed over it right there. You and Whitney are doing the keynote at KubeCon Shanghai?
Yeah.
Congratulations.
Yeah, it's very cool. First, it's cool to go to Shanghai. I like Shanghai really, and it wasn't even our proposal. Kind of, hey, can we do keynote? We just submitted the talk, and they got back to us asking, hey, can we change this talk to a keynote? Now we just need to figure out how to do it, but that's because there is a time restriction and many others. But yeah,
And you have to learn Chinese between now and then, correct?
we will be dubbed live.
Really?
Yeah. I was
Interesting.
already in KubeCon China, and my talk was live dubbed. So if you're attendee, right, you can put headphones
Put
and
headphones
you
in
will
and-
listen to me in Chinese.
Well, you'll be listening to your interpreter in Chinese, but yes.
Yes, listening to me speaking.
And someone
Interpreted by
interpreting.
someone, exactly. All the details, yeah.
Yeah, we don't have, I was at where was I at? Somewhere. Oh, I was at a bank the other day. And gentleman spoke Spanish. The lady on the other side of the counter didn't. So he was using his phone as the universal translator.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, it wasn't perfect, but they were able to communicate enough for him to get his thing done.
Now, we still have an issue of, there is a deadline, which I already forgot, of course, to submit the presentation.
Whoops.
I mean, we'll get there whenever, unless it's already past tense. I don't know when it is, but that's not the problem. The thing is that to submit the slides of the presentation in English and Chinese. It's not going to happen. I can tell you in advance. I'm not submitting slides translated with Google Translate.
No. No, it's once you understand how not so great auto translates are, like I did with the gentleman, it's like, it might get you, well, we have
It's better than nothing in case of that.
It's better than
gentleman,
nothing.
right?
Yeah, it's so the guy that does our yard, we pay him to do our yard, only speaks Spanish. I speak very little Spanish and not enough to communicate, but I can understand better than I can actually speak it. So his son though is completely bilingual. So it's like, hey, is Jorge here today? It's like, where's Jorge? And we'll get him and it's like, oh, okay, yeah, we do all that. But anyway, I still need to learn Spanish. I've been saying that for close to 40 years. I need to. How many languages do you speak now?
Fluently or?
Conversationally.
3.
3.
3.
Okay. Never asked that. If I asked that, I didn't remember the answer. Anyway, okay. Why are we talking about that? It's the end of the week. I've got another meeting I have to go to. And I have to go write some more YAML today. Because YAML is the language of AI.
YAML is the language of that is humanly writable. There was a question I saw in the comments. Hey, no, only JSON for SBOMs,
Yeah.
right? I prefer YAML when I'm writing it, but I have zero problem being JSON when it's meant to be consumed by machines only, right? Nobody writes SBOM. You're not going to open an editor and write SBOM, and you're not going to open an editor and read SBOM. So JSON is okay.
If you need to read JSON, then format it. Pretty print it.
Yep.
And then to me, it's just as readable.
Exactly. Or transform it.
As a
I'm pretty
one-liner?
sure that-
No.
I'm pretty sure that JQ, YQ, one of those can transform it easily. So
Works great. Yeah, I've got one that I look at on a fairly regular basis that's 25 meg. What happens? I go in, format it. And then JQ when I'm ready to do real work on it. Okay, anyway. Are we back next week? We should be back next week.
we are back by next week, yeah. Until the end of August, all good. Not
Which
going
is next
anywhere.
week. Isn't it?
No, it's 18th, 2 weeks.
25th. You'll be
no,
close.
Yeah, 1 week only, yeah.
Yeah,
One
next
Friday
week.
and
Because then
yeah.
you're gone that next Friday. So
I think, yeah, I'm not sure when I'm going. Somewhere early
I
September.
think that's right. Yeah. Anyway, thanks for being here with us live. I again apologize about the ads that were going live. That won't happen again next week unless I screw up and forget it. But I'm going to go back. As soon as I'm done here, I'm going to go and set up the defaults to where that doesn't happen again.
I mean, come on. Those ads are making us rich.
Yep.
If you're lucky, it will get to 1 cent soon. Just
that's what I was
continue
going to say.
watching.
It might be 1 or 2 cents. So it's not anything.
Not quitting the day job.
Not quitting the night job either. So, okay. Thanks, everybody. We will see you again next week. And I think that's it, right? There's nothing else going on. Do you want to go ahead and make a guess of the content that we'll have for next week? Do you think
For
there will be
Friday?
more HashiCorp related news next week?
I mean, something will be related to HashiCorp. It will take a few more weeks until it passes by, right? And nobody talks about, I don't know, like Elastic anymore, right? But it takes a month or two until all the other companies get their credit for being on the righteous side of the debate.
Not the right side, but the righteous side.
Righteous.
I think that's as far as we're going to light that fire today. Thanks, everybody. Have a great weekend. We'll talk to you again next week.